Live from WOWT, First Alert 6 starts now.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on First Alert 6 Streaming. I'm Cerise Cole.
And I'm Erin Hartley, of course, joined by meteorologist Jarrett Lansford. Let's talk about the forecast for today. The weather overnight may have woken you up, maybe not, but that's now starting to clear out mostly out of the metro.
Yeah, we're bringing that round to a close. We got several more that are on the way, but we're getting the first one out of the way. So some good news. If you're in Iowa, maybe still a few downpours to look at. So let's give you a first alert to how that's looking at this point. You can see the bulk of the activity has moved east of us and gotten out of our area, though we still have a couple of spotty showers that may have a little lightning with them. One that's moved just off to the east of the Shenandoah area. We still have a couple of these bubbling up near Nebraska City. So the next hour or so we'll still have this as a possibility. Then it moves east and you join the rest of us who are seeing things clear out. This is what it's looking like in the metro. Still some cloud cover that's around in the metro, but it's just a little more ominous looking than what you can expect for the rest of the morning. 52 degrees is what we have for our temp. We've got southeast breeze. This is also about as strong as the wind gets today. We'll have that in that 10 to 15 mile per hour breeze for the rest of the morning into the afternoon. And it's going to turn into a really nice rest of our morning and afternoon. Here's how it goes. You can see in the afternoon, we're already getting our temps up into the 70s. So it's going to turn into the kind of day you want to get outside and enjoy. And it's going to stay that way through about 6 p.m. That's when we start to get things a little bit more busy. So watch what happens as we get towards 6 p.m. You can see all this cloud cover that really develops off to the south of the metro. That's where we could get a couple of isolated storms that get going through about midnight. And that's the area where we're going to be looking at. It's south of I-80, but especially along and south of Highway 2 is where we have the highest chance to get some of those to bubble up. Any of those storms that do develop in that area could get a little strength to them. First alert to the potential for some hail, gusty winds with those as they get going in that 6 to midnight window. It's not impossible that we get a spin-up tornado. I think that's a very, very low risk, though. It's mainly going to be the hail and wind that you need to be concerned about. 60 mile per hour gusts, quarter-sized hail in the strongest of those storms. So that's the evening round that we see. Then we get into our Friday, and we set ourselves up for a warm day. You can see we're getting toward 5 p.m., talking about low to mid 80s for our temps. That comes with winds that are gusting up to 40 miles per hour. So as you can imagine, the fire risk is going to be quite high as we head through the day tomorrow. Keep that in mind. But it will be blustery, but quite warm if you're looking to get outdoors. Once we get to 6 p.m., here we go again. Another round of storms that starts to develop off to the north and west of the metro this time is where that peak chance lands. And Norfolk, West Point, Columbus, you have to watch for some of these as one or two could have some gusty winds and hail with them. You're going to notice as I send this forward, these really start to fall apart as they head their way off to the south and east. And we'll look at things quieting down as we head overnight and then start to make our way toward the weekend at that point. But this is the area where you have a small risk that we maybe get a storm that has a little bit of strength to it is as we get into that 6 p.m. to about 11 p.m. time frame for our Friday evening. So first alert to that as well. All right, everyone feel comfortable about where we're at right now?
We feel comfortable, but we know there's even more activity in the weekend and a huge temperature change.
Yeah, it's the busy forecast continues as we get into the weekend. We're going to be seeing a front that comes in and the severe risk starts to drop a little bit more, but we get more rain that's around and maybe a little snow.
Maybe.
So let's talk about that. Let's throw that into the mix. So first of all, here's our gusts for our Friday. You can see those up around 40 miles per hour to the south. That's going to be pretty notable through the course of our Friday. So we get done with those storms, we make our way into our Saturday. You're going to be seeing more showers that are around. We'll have those kind of scattered in the morning hours. So if you're looking to get outdoors Saturday, you'll have an easier chance of trying to do that earlier on, because the later we get Saturday, the more we start to fill in those scattered showers and storms. There you can see the coverage increases as we get into the afternoon and evening. We will have to watch areas that are south of the metro. We may get one or two storms that have a little strength to them. I do think the peak threat ends up off to our south into Kansas with those storms for the Saturday evening time frame. We get a little bit of a break as we head into our Saturday overnight, and then our next round of showers pushes in. At this point, we're a lot colder. After being in the 60s for highs on Saturday, we're into the low 40s and seeing a decent breeze. So this will be kind of a cold, miserable rain that we see as we get into our Sunday and start to lift that into the area. You're going to notice that off to the north, we get a better chance to start to mix some snow in with this. And if you are north of the metro, you have a better chance of seeing that full change to some wet snow. Now, the good news is there's a couple factors with that. You're looking at being less moisture around by the time we make that full switch. We're likely melting this in the metro, maybe a thin coating if you're north of the metro. And the winds are also looking lighter once we get to our Sunday than they were looking like they could be. So expect gusts up around 30 miles per hour. Still notable, but it's not going to be quite as big of a travel impact as what it was looking like we could see out of that. Still, 43, having some rain and snow showers, not ideal as we get into our Sunday. We get into next week, we're getting a little more of a focus on our rain chances there, Tuesday into Wednesday. Watch for that being where we see some, but some more seasonal temperatures looking like they show up, and also a little bit of a quieter forecast for that part as well.
You can use that.
Yeah. All right, a first alert to drivers. Excuse me. Looks like there's already some significant backups this morning.
Yeah, we've got a couple of issues that we're tracking in the early going. We're going to start on 680. This is where we had a crash for anyone who's trying to get through the I-80 interchange. And a lot of people do use the ILQ bypass to do that. So as you're getting from southbound 680 to that bypass, you can see how traffic is pretty much stalled out, and that's because there's a crash there. It's right at the meeting point there, so you need to watch for that. It's probably an area to avoid. You can see traffic on I-80 itself. 680, I should say, is moving along in pretty good shape as you're heading southbound, so it's anyone who's trying to get to that ramp and bypass is where you're looking at the issues. People trying to merge in off of center as well to go southbound 680. So backup's pretty significant in that stretch at this point. Not the only issue we have, though, and this is what we're looking here, 480 bridge. It looks a little better than it was looking just a little while ago, so that's encouraging, but we were seeing some pretty sizable backups that were starting to build. This was lit up in red just about 10 minutes ago, so watch for potential delays that could show up this morning. Hopefully after kind of the nightmare scenario we saw just the other day with this, that means that we are looking at things, drivers maybe looking at alternate routes, maybe we're seeing things just a little bit better at this point in the morning than what we had the other morning. But keep an eye on that and keep you posted with any delays that develop with that. Those are the two biggest issues we do have traffic-wise at this point. A lot of our other roads do look like they are moving along in pretty good shape, and we could get our Thursday off to a better start there.
Yeah,
if, we can avoid
do that. All right, Jared, thank you. News now, new this morning, City Council District 2 candidate William King says his social media manager was shot in North Omaha Tuesday. It is unclear whether or not they were a victim in one of the 3 shootings from that day. King has suspended all door-to-door canvassing efforts until further notice due to safety concerns.
Happening today, a local school psychologist will make his first appearance in court. Jeffrey Fauble is facing child sex assault charges. Prosecutors say the alleged assault is with somebody Fauble knows personally. Papillion-La Vista Community Schools has placed him on leave. Now, they do stress the crime he's accused of is not tied to his work. The district is not allowing him on campus or to contact students.
And a quick correction, yesterday morning we reported the foster mother of a boy who died after being left in a hot car last summer would be sentenced yesterday. Well, that sentencing is actually set for today. 5-year-old Denicio Perez was found unresponsive in an SUV near a nail salon where Juanita Pinion worked. According to court documents, police were told that boy had been left in the car for about 7 hours.
OPPD is back to normal operations for power restoration more than a week after last week's devastating blizzard. At the peak of the storm, more than 106,000 people were without power. That makes it the 5th largest outage in OPPD history. The company estimates that 1,200 poles need to be replaced. At last check, fewer than 100 people are without power as of this morning.
Made a lot of progress. Happening now, the Salvation Army is hosting its Love Beyond Food Hunger Drive, or Hunger Food Drive rather. Salvation Army officials say they're seeing a 14% increase in demand for food in recent years. Now, with severe weather causing those power outages for hundreds of thousands here in the metro just last week, and a lot of food spoiled, officials say now is the perfect time to fill their shelves.
We have, for the last couple of years, noticed or seen an increase in the amount of people who have never had to ask for help before, but now they're seeing themselves in situations where they are, having to reach out and needing the assistance.
Well, the drive is in the parking lot on Dodge between 89th and 90th Street until 6 p.m. tonight. We also have a link to donate on our website. Just go to firstalert6.com.
All right, over to the safety desk now with Marie Cade. You have some important information about colon cancer.
Yeah, it is the leading cause of death in men under 50 and the second leading cause in women under 50. But not everyone takes the precautions to make sure that they are catching it early. Now, experts say only 38% of Nebraskans ages 45 to 54 got a screening. Doctors recommend getting screened if you are between the ages of 45 to 50. And there's one Kearney nurse who's sharing her story. She says she has no symptoms, no family medical history of colon cancer, but she still decided to get screened.
I was never so glad that I did. They found a polyp and referred me on to a surgeon. Ended up with a colon resection and then chemotherapy to follow.
Doctors say while at-home screenings are pretty effective at finding cancers, they can have some drawbacks. So they do recommend to go in, get that colonoscopy. It's the only way to know for sure if you do have that colon cancer.
Yeah, also make sure you're getting your fiber. There are positive links between having a high fiber diet and preventing colon cancer. All right, in the meantime, you have some good information about endometriosis. It's a debilitating pain. It may make it harder for women to become pregnant. It's very serious for many women. You have some more about the signs that experts say every single woman should know about.
Yeah, a lot of people deal with this on a day-to-day basis, and oftentimes, it's something that you can't really see from the outside, but is really affecting people. So a lot of women, 10% of women in the U.S. might have endometriosis. They might not even know it too. So doctors say it is common for women to get a delayed diagnosis because many people are told that it is normal to have painful periods. And while, like we said, endometriosis can be asymptomatic, there are some red flags, including extreme pain in your abdomen, lower back, and pelvis. Some other signs, bleeding or spotting, and stomach problems.
Strongly encourage women to sort of seek out care, and if you're not really hearing the answers that you're expecting or being taken seriously, then seek out another opinion.
Now, officials at Northwestern Medicine say endometriosis is one of the leading causes of infertility, and there are many types of treatments available that can bring relief for symptoms, and that includes medicine, surgery, or for some people, a combination of both.
It's a lot to deal with. All right, Marie Cade, thank you from the safety desk. We'll be back after this.
Welcome back, everybody. It's a good thing we still need a lot of rain because we're going to have several chances coming up in the next few days.
Yeah, it's going to be spotty, but there will be a lot of it around at different points over the coming days. So let's give you an idea of what each of these chances look like where you're at, because it will vary depending on your location on when you could expect some chances for some showers and storms over this next 5 days. So where we're at right now, we still have a couple of showers that are off to the south and east of the metro, off to the east of Shenandoah. A little bit of some lightning possible with some of these as well. These should wrap up here in the next hour or so, and you'll be joining the rest of us who have seen the rain come to a close. So there you can see that 20% at 8 a.m. and then things are dry for the rest of the morning and into the afternoon. Sunshine, 70s, looking really nice at that point. This evening's chance is between 6 and midnight, and that's especially if you're south of I-80 and particularly south of Highway 2, where the better chance for some of those to develop is in place. So here's what you could expect with that. You'll notice the cloud cover really balloons here as we get past 6 p.m. A couple of showers and storms that this model paints off to the east. I think it's possible we get some of those into our area as early as that 6 p.m. time frame. And then as we go through midnight, you can see we still try to develop a couple of those. And it's a risk that's mainly for hail and gusty winds. I can't say that a tornado won't happen. I think it's a pretty low risk out of this setup, but something to first alert you to is that being something that is still possible. It's more a wind and hail threat, though, that we see with any of those storms. 6 to midnight if you're south of the metro. We get into our Friday. We're talking about warming things up in quite a big way, into the low to mid 80s for our highs. Gusts that are up into that 40-mile-per-hour range out of the south. And then in the evening, we get a couple storms that develop, this time to the north and to the west of the metro. A couple of those could get some strength to them as well. Those don't last very long. They're done by about 11 o'clock. But again, first alert to a couple of isolated storms for Tacoma, Norfolk, West Point, Columbus. You would be included in that risk. Then we make our way into our weekend. We start off with some scattered showers around for our Saturday morning. We'll fill that in a little bit more as we get into the afternoon. Have a couple of storms possible south of the metro, maybe some wind and hail with some of those, but mostly outside of our area with that severe risk. Then we get a break overnight. We fill in the showers as we get into our Sunday, and then we maybe get a little bit of some snow mixing in with that as our Sunday goes on. If you're north of the metro, especially, is where that risk comes in. We move that out for Sunday night and we'll dry out as we head into Monday. I want to give you a quick idea of what kind of rainfall we're talking about with this. This is going to be a good depiction of the fact that it's going to vary some because this is scattered storms that are in place. This model is saying maybe a ceiling of 1/4 of an inch or so in the metro. That's not all that much. I switched to a different model. It brings some storms over the metro and you end up at 3/4 of an inch to an inch. So it's going to have some variation as we see some of these scattered storms make their way through the area. Once we get to our Sunday, we're talking about 40s for our temps, that after being 82 for our Friday. So Sunday is going to be jarring with that change, and it will be staying cooler into our Monday despite the drier conditions.
Yeah, it looks like a busy weekend as far as the rain comes and goes. After the weekend, though, is there any sign of relief? We get back to normal spring temperatures?
Yeah, we actually get some improvement as we head beyond Monday. We'll bring back those 50s and 60s for our temperatures. A chance for a couple more scattered storms Tuesday into Wednesday. That's the time frame that it's looking a little bit more likely at this point as we look at the 10-day for next week. Trending drier for Thursday and Friday, and the 60s are looking pretty nice as we head toward next weekend. We just got to get through this weekend that looks a little more soggy instead.
Yeah, a lot going on. All right, Jared, thank you so much. Well, happening tomorrow, Mayor Stothert is set to deliver her yearly State of the City address. It comes just a few days before city's primary election day on Tuesday. Now, last year, the mayor address focused on topics like public safety, the streetcar, and recovery efforts from the Arbor Day tornadoes. Opening day takes place today for Major League Baseball teams all around the country.
But outside of Omaha, dozens of families might not see the first pitch this summer. Last week's blizzard threw children who are a part of Arlington youth sports a curveball. Officials tell First Alert 6 it's going to cost them $170,000 for repairs.
We have one field to practice on now, so it's just a scramble to get everybody some field time.
Well, practice is happening now on the unaffected fields. The season opener is set for the first week of May. You can find that link to donate up on our website, firstalert6.com.
I hate that for those kids. I hope they get all the help. All right, speaking of opening day, the Kansas City Royals kick off their 2025 season today. They're hosting the Cleveland Guardians at 3 o'clock this afternoon at the K. KC is expecting to contend for the AL Central Division title after winning 86 games and reaching the playoff season last year. A reminder, you can watch select Royal games this season on Cozy. That's channel 6.2 right here in Omaha. And the first LEGO League and statewide championship took over parts of UNL's campus this week.
The day-long event brought people from all over the state to Lincoln. The league says it helps kids learn about STEM subjects, critical thinking, and teamwork. Despite the event just ending, officials are already planning for next year.
We will regroup again and start fresh around the first week of August. You just need 2 to 10 youth and 2 caring adults that can come together and make it happen.
Well, each participant gets a table and chairs along with a 10-foot by 10-foot space to create, well, whatever they want.
You need a lot of Legos, too.
Oh, yes. All right, Omaha going through a time warp.
Yeah, we'll tell you all about the latest Broadway musical hitting the Metro right now when First Alert 6 streaming returns.
Well, the 1920s and 30s are in Omaha for the week.
That's right. The first Broadway national tour of Some Like It Hot is at the Orpheum through Sunday. The Tony Award-winning musical is based on the 1959 film starring Marilyn Monroe and Tony Cotus. First Alert 6 got an exclusive sneak peek behind the curtain yesterday. Tara Connor-Jones plays Sweet Sue. She says she hopes the show leaves audiences with this message.
The idea and the belief of knowing that everyone is worthy to be loved, of knowing that everyone should be accepted.
I love that message.
Me too. The show is full of tap dancing and gorgeous costumes. Star dresser Jeremy Davis Toll says he does 30 quick changes every show. Oh my goodness. That's insane.
The fastest one that I do is about 25 seconds, but there's a faster one that I watch backstage, and it's from the very beginning where some of our ensemble has to, they turn into cops at the end of the number, and that's a 13-second change.
13 seconds.
I don't know what I could do in 30 seconds. Again, so the show plays through Sunday, and you can get tickets by visiting ticketomaha.com. You talked to all those people yesterday?
I did, and you know the really interesting thing that Jeremy said as well is that oftentimes when they go from city to city, most of the dressers who are helping do all these quick changes are local dressers. They pull people in every city to help them on the tour, and they've been going since September, I believe, and they said they have about 7 people from the area who are helping them just this week get everything ready to go.
Awesome. That's fun. That would be a cool job too.
Yes, I think so too. Wow. And those costumes, they were beautiful to see in person.
They look gorgeous. Oh, that sounds so good to see.
Have you seen the show?
I saw it Tuesday.
Okay.
Incredible.
All right.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. We got to get ready for our update in the Today Show. You can watch it here on streaming or over the air.
Have a great start to your Thursday.
Live from WOWT, First Alert 6 starts now.
Good Thursday morning, everybody. It is 7:26. I'm Cerise Cole.
And I'm Erin Harley. A First Alert update to traffic. We'll check in with meteorologist Jarrett Lansford.
We're continuing to track a crash that has been causing issues as you head southbound 680 right near Center, and traffic merging in from Center. You can see right as we're live on the air, that crash is starting to clear. So we should start to see improvements in that area. That lane just opened back up that had been blocked. So there's where the crash was. We're starting to get improvements, good signs with what we're seeing in that area. I've also been closely watching 480 as you head over the bridge from Council Bluffs to Omaha westbound. We had some backups that were pretty significant as we were approaching the 7 o'clock hour. Still some delays showing up in that area. We zoom out real quick. You can see the JFK though with troubles as you're heading northbound approaching I-80. Let's check in on where we stand with some storms that were around early this morning. Those left the metro behind several hours ago. 52 where we're at. We're in the process of clearing things out. Actually a pretty nice sunrise that we have in place. But when we look at the radar, you can see some spotty activity off to the south and east of the metro. Some downpours, some lightning possible with these. So those shouldn't stick around too much longer. You can see things starting to clear out in much of Iowa. And we'll end up about 78 for our high with sunshine through the afternoon. After 6 p.m., scattered storms possible again south of the metro, and particularly as you get south of Highway 2. That's where you could see a couple of these through midnight. They have some hail and gusty winds with them. So first alert to that risk. We've got more storm chances as we get into our Friday evening and some wet weather through the weekend.
Jared, thank you. New this morning, City Council District 2 candidate William King says his social media manager was shot in North Omaha Tuesday. It's unclear whether or not they were a victim in one of the 3 shootings that happened that day. King has suspended all door-to-door canvassing efforts until further notice due to safety concerns.
It is 7:28. We're back with another update for you in 25 minutes. We'll see you then.